Some they call it functional alcoholism, but if you know anything about Ben, he's got vision with precision, microphones and a tinkle of derision. You're about to hear what beer can be. It's time for Barley and me.
Welcome to Barley and Me. I'm your host, Ben Rice. We're here today in Sacramento, California at King Cong Brewing. With us today, we got John Anaya, the brewer here.
Hello.
And also George Murray.
Hello.
And our special guest today from Be Brave, Bold Robot, it's Dean Haakenson.
Special thank you. Hello.
Hello. Thank you guys so much for coming out here on an early morning to talk about beer and music and life.
You know, it's great because, I mean, we're sipping on a nice cold lager right now, and it's hot outside. The sun's out, so I
love
can't.
life.
And it's Friday.
You love life.
Good Friday, guy. Well, I shouldn't say that.
No,
It's Happy Friday.
It is a good
Happy
Friday. It's not the
but
Good Friday.
It's a Good Friday.
Yeah.
It's a Good Friday for me.
Wait, wasn't Good Friday before Lent, and so that was after Fat Tuesday was
Yeah.
Good Friday, right?
Well,
it is a Good Friday. I
It's
gotta
always-
say it was a good day.
It's always
Every
a good
Friday's
day.
good.
Yeah.
Every Friday's a good day.
But it's not
Good Friday.
it's not the Good
statement.
Friday.
Good statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna do my normal opening question. It's the only question I have planned ever. How's business here at King Kong?
I think it's great. If you guys haven't been here to the Boulevard, you guys need to make your way up to North Sacramento.
Uptown.
Yo.
Dude, it's an awesome space. I really like it here.
Well, you know, it's cool because I'm not from around here. Actually, I'm a Fairfield resident right now. I bought a house out there, so the commute. But, man, this area, the locals, we got one right here, too, who lives around the corner. But, you know, it's a great place to be. I mean, Sacramento's a great place anyways. But I think, you know, this place here is just a nice little pocket.
It's
Yeah.
close enough to the urban core that it seems it's nice. There's a density that it was already here.
Yeah.
And this was uptown for decades and decades, right? I mean, this was a very established neighborhood forever and ever. You guys know any history about that? Like even the history of this building? I can see by the ceiling, it's got a curve like it's a air, like some sort of little mini hangar building. Is that how
Quonset.
it initially was? A Quonset? Yeah.
I don't know much, but I have heard that there was a runway here, and the building. The building that's just down the street here on the corner. They're having some issues trying to get a business there because that's where the planes were dumping a lot of maybe fuel or other things. That the ground is a little contaminated there, so it's
Interesting.
off the.
This was an airport.
Off the market for a while, but yeah, apparently, I mean, George
thought you were
George
pulling
grew
my
up here,
leg.
so I don't know.
Yeah, I think Del Paso Boulevard was actually the first boulevard to go down where they had the trolleys going into downtown.
Oh, nice.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of history here.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of aircraft mechanics. So if you look around the actual neighborhood, there's a lot of hangars. There's actually one
Yeah.
right behind us.
Okay,
Also,
so-
Yeah, 'cause you've got,
I was right on. All right.
Because you got a few Air Force bases that were around. You got Mather Field over in Rancho, and you got McClellan.
I grew up
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah. Yeah. My grandpa used to have the speed record for maintenance over at
McClellan? Mather?
Mather. Yeah.
Speed record for maintenance? That's
Yeah.
like as a gun.
Like,
taken
just like-
apart, put it back together.
Yeah, but it's for
There's
like
an
airplane, for like an
Yeah.
airplane. Yeah.
Or an airplane gun.
Yeah. But it could be. I never actually asked the question,
Possibly.
but he was on that
Crossover.
leaderboard. Which
I
is
mean,
pretty
regardless,
nice.
I would like to have that title.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a pretty cool title.
Did he get something like an award of some sort?
I doubt
wonder,
it.
a plaque.
I feel like probably not. But I remember before he passed, he was still like, he's like, I'm gonna go re-roof this house right quick. I'm like, you're not even like medically able to like get out of bed. He's like, no, I'm gonna go re-roof this house.
Old school. Always hardy.
Yeah.
Salt of the earth.
But the cool thing that I've learned about the Boulevard is there's a lot of people actually that made their way from downtown to 8 or whatever. I'm not sure where, but through the Boulevard, that was kind of the main thoroughway before all the other ones were built. So, and that kind of brings me to I'm all about community, and I love community just because I'm in the beer business, and
Yeah.
beer is a cool thing to make a lot of memories with, and I'm not talking about memories like in college, I mean those cake stand kind of memories. I'm
barely
talking,
memories.
I'm talking more about memories about bring your kids and family and dogs or whatever, and just chatting with people because I think we as just people who build fences around our houses get so tunnel visioned, and we come and go, and we're so busy. And that's, I think, Americans is just, we grew up that way, where we're so driven that we forget the important thing in life. And sometimes that could be just your neighbors in your community, right? Because that's where everything's at. And the reason I say that is because I actually brewed in London. I had the amazing ability to go out in London, England, and I took my whole family out there, and just watching how they interacted with each other. And it could be because it was such a tight-knit community, and that's just history. But they care about each other a lot. And yeah, there's issues here and there, but there's nobody that builds a fence because they can't have that. I mean,
it was like a very established neighborhood where you were brewing for some older pub.
I'm gonna shout out to my good friends out in Beavertown Brewing Company. Literally Beavertown.
Oh, Beavertown.
Yeah, so Beavertown.
Beavertown.
I think
British accent going with that.
I think I might have their shirt right here. Look at that.
Oh, snap. Whoa. It's an astronaut. Has an astronaut with a little
B on there.
That's a British astronaut.
Yeah. So the cool thing about them is they started pretty small like us here at a little small brew pub. Logan Plant started this little restaurant, and he did American barbecue. Okay.
Oh.
The coolest thing is that back, this was probably about 6 years or 5 years. There wasn't such a thing as American barbecue in London, but he loved American style beer from his travels of coming to the U.S. and other things, that he started a small little nano brewery inside the barbecue joint.
Okay.
And it blew up. So now, this is, 6 years later, 7 years later, he has a huge facility. He's building a brand new multi-million pound, I guess, in there, right? Not dollar, a pound. Yeah. But, and if anybody likes footy or soccer, European soccer and England soccer, he's got a brewery inside Tottenham Hale. Hotspurs, if anybody's listening who knows who Hotspurs are.
It's the answer. It's never the answer to the soccer question at my trivia night. Oh, it's never Tottenham. That's never.
So if you want a trivia night, ask them what brewery is in the new Spurs stadium.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
now we know.
John, what's the difference between British style beer and American style beer? I want to guess like a lot more carbonation in the beer, a lot more hoppy. When I think of British beer, you think of like kind of room temperature, some of those like porters and stuff.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Sorry. I shouldn't
absolutely.
have answered the question for you.
It's fine. I mean, I agree with you.
Is there a better? Yeah, give me some more.
I mean, the one I'm drinking right now is quite carbonated and cold. But it's intended that way because Sacramento gets bloody hot.
Yeah. This Mexican lager is fantastic.
You like it?
I like it a lot.
El Campeón.
It's very
El Campeón. 4.4%, low IBUs. Something that you go out and it's 110 degrees out there, you're mowing your lawn, and you can crush probably 5 gallons worth.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't do it, guys, but maybe somebody else will.
Yeah. Well, if you have some friends over, help with the lawn. Cook some barbecue. Now, when it comes to American barbecue, what kind of sauce was he making? Because that, I think, would start a fight. If someone's like, "Oh, it's American barbecue," like, which one?
Well,
Texas.
I mean, St. Louis styles, or East Coast,
you
Carolinas.
got North Carolina. Yeah, what are you
even
doing?
Florida.
We have it all.
Yeah. It's
Carolina barbecue. I'm sweet.
Yeah, I mean, you got vinegar or no vinegar. I mean, you got ketchup, no ketchup. I mean, it's your poison.
A lot of fights.
Yeah. But just to make sure you guys understand, I'm a big barbecue guy, and barbecuing is smoking. It's not grilling, right? Us Californians here think that barbecuing is light up your grill and then you're barbecuing. Well,
your propane tank.
All my barbecue brothers in the South, they'll tell you, no, you gotta get some smoke to it. Smoke it.
It's like wood briquettes, some smoke.
Yeah. So,
like converted trash cans.
Well, whatever you could, whatever you got. Well, there's wood.
Little barrel.
You gotta have wood.
Yeah.
You gotta have wood. No gas.
Yeah.
Gas. Just natural combustion.
And just straight wood? Or you gotta watch how dirty that wood is.
Oh, you gotta watch what kind of wood you use, first of all.
Period.
I mean,
Clean.
you can't use, pine, because that's not leave a pleasant flavor and might gum up your smoker. But
real bad.
The soot But yeah, I mean, myself, I like the good almond wood. So almond, for those people who don't know what almonds are, because I grew up in a place where it was the almond.
Knock the L out of it.
Almond capital of the world.
Yeah.
When it fell to the ground.
That's the joke. What's
When
the
it fell to
joke?
the ground and knocked the L out of it.
Yeah, something like that.
What's the joke? Set it up. Do the whole joke.
It's like, why is it an almond on the ground but an almond in the tree? When it fell, it knocked the L out of it.
That's good.
So stupid.
Yeah, it's a good joke. It's
Yeah.
the only. It's an
But
almond
you know what?
joke.
We didn't finish the. I mean, yeah, English and American beers.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, yes.
go ahead.
Actually, you know,
Please,
so we
give a whole lecture.
Those who haven't been to King Cong, we're gonna start doing hopefully Firkin Mondays.
Yeah.
Firkins,
Freaking Mondays,
which
bro.
is essentially an English cask, or a cask or a vessel where you put beer in. It's rounded and it's like a little mini barrel that.
What's it called? This
a
thing?
cask, a
cask.
firkin.
Oh yeah.
Firkin.
So there's different sizes, right? And like for example, a 5 gallon is called a pin. Firkins are 10 gallons.
I have an important question. Are you using a metal or are you using a wood firkin?
I have to admit, it's metal.
You son of a bitch.
I know.
Is
You
the
know,
wood
Matt.
firkin traditionally used to
Correct.
and put some flavor into the beer?
So the differences
soak
between
it.
American and English style beers is that there's a term called real ale, and Camera does a really good job to continue the trend of real ale. So instead of going on all this detail what Camera is, those who are listening could Google it. It's a pretty good. It's almost like the America's Brewers Association here, who controls a lot of the beer styles, and they change.
Okay.
So anyway, so they believe it or not, the natural cask or real ale in England almost died because the introduction of our flavorful, cold, crispy, light lagers came into play. Budweiser, of course. There's Boulevard out there. There's a couple other ones, and that kind of started changing that trend. So a lot of people that went to the pub were pouring, were getting poured these nice, cold, carbonated, really easy drinking kind of beers. Where the English style beers, since they're real ales, it's essentially the process of making this is we control it. So from the tank, fermentation, conditioning, bright tanks, clearing, to carbonating it artificially through sending CO2 into the solution and getting the right level of CO2 for accuracy, that's what we do. Where a real ale is essentially you are done fermenting and you're transferring this over to a firkin or a cask, and then you add either you could add a little bit more sugar to re-ferment within the vessel, or you could just transfer it over early enough where before it's done fermenting, it'll contribute a lot of that natural CO2 through fermentation. But regardless, whichever way you play, you're creating this beverage that is naturally everything, and it re-ferments, which causes a lot more flavor to come out of that beer when you do it that way. Now, that's
But not the fresh hops, because that would that's more.
well,
fresh
you could add. I mean, you could do whatever you want in the cask.
yeah.
I mean, you could
You
add
could throw
hops in there.
anything
You
in
could add fruit. You could
Yeah.
add whatever you want. Traditionally, that's how we're on the
Is it
street.
ever quite as carbonated as
No.
the process?
It's always under 2 volumes properly, and it's always served at a room temperature, which is always 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's to keep it kind of fermenting as it's being
Conditioning.
served.
So
Even.
it's real ale because you're not drawing like we do here, where you have a keg in the cold box and you're adding CO2 as beer leaves. So you're never introducing oxygen in the keg. This is you're getting oxygen in, and the beer does change. It does get better, personally, over time.
Yeah, more well-rounded taste. Which I always hate a firkin IPA. I'm like, I don't want that. I want that bite. I want that cut and corner. And they're like, no, we're gonna round it out for you. I'm like, you go to hell. You probably put it in a metal container and then you put an IPA in there. You son of a bitch. And that's not a big. I don't look. Firkin Fest was my Sacramento Beer Week must attend. I'll take the day off of work to go to Firkin Fest at Beer Week like every year. Like that was my shit. And then they started getting all these IPAs, and I'm like, I hate this.
It's crazy how IPAs are just going crazy right now, especially in Sacramento. By the way, I mean I've never seen such an IPA heavy crowd in Sacramento. Really, well, everywhere, but I think here it's just.
No, I meant
crazy.
Sacramento.
Oh,
all the breweries.
all the
I go
breweries.
to.
Yeah. And that's why we
IPA
have
everywhere.
we have I don't know like 5 or 6 IPAs sometimes.
Yeah.
And,
Try to mix it up.
But I love lagers and I love English ale, so we're mixing it up here. And George is actually helping me. He's, one of my assistants here that works part time. He's got another job full time, of course, because the brewing business doesn't pay much. But we love what we do.
Yeah, our first firkins that we released were on St. Patty's Day. Yeah. So we had a Irish ale and red ale.
Those are good. I had some of those. I played.
Oh, you were here.
I played here St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
Be Brave, Bold Robot played.
You
here St.
did
Patty's
play.
Day.
You're right.
And I will say this is a very family friendly place.
It's
Every
so
time I've played
awesome.
here or been here, there is huge groups of families with friends and people,
Dogs,
and now the backspace is very large.
Huge.
And
There's games.
It's like a Chuck E. Cheese, but you got live bands
and
better food, much better food. And beer.
Oh,
With Chuck E. Cheese,
we're
they have
barbecuing,
Budweiser?
smoking here, guys. So we are actually doing some pretty amazing food plates that I believe.
Shout out to the food here; it's above average.
Yeah,
It's very good.
For sure.
And
Our cook
Drew,
Andrew there, he's making a great menu.
Yeah,
for sure.
from the first time I walked in here, I was like, "This is a hidden gem," because this room is designed like you guys do music here, obviously.
Yeah, we
things
do.
like that in this main room. Then you've got this back lot that's like family oriented. There's games, tons of seating, beautiful, and then you got delicious beers, and you got like killer food. Like this is a place to be. I
like being here, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a choice, but I mean,
it's a great place to be. Like the first time I walked in, I'm like, yeah, this is a place that I would come to like way more often. Like when people are like, oh, I have a birthday party I'm planning, like go to King Cong.
oh, nice.
Go to King Kong.
Thank
Like-
you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like the beers.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad you like my beard, but
It's a good beer, real nice beer.
Thank
Just a little pepper, a little
Yeah.
salt and pepper, good.
Kinda
I
like
got
yours,
one
man. I
hand
like
pointing
it.
to you,
Look at
dude.
that.
Thank
Nice.
you. Regarding the food here, I was talking to Drew a little bit earlier, and he is currently pickling a few things, some like carrots and some other veggie stuff, some onions to be put into the food or have it like a nice little edible garnish there. And when you were talking about the difference between British beer and American beer earlier, I did want to liken that difference to the difference between brined pickled stuff, which is like a quick pickle, which might be like the American beer version, where you can make a pickle really quickly and make it taste like a pickle with the salt and the vinegar, with not a lot of natural fermentation process. But then there's also the natural fermentation process. And what do you think about that comparison to, well, it's just a natural fermentation versus a...
I think it's. I mean, honestly, I
accelerated
love fermentation because
There's no fermentation in the
You
regular
pickle it.
pickles.
Well, sometimes when you pickle,
Kinda.
I mean, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
It depends how you
just
do
like
it
too
too.
salty usually. Straight up brined pickles. There's no fermentation.
But you could do it naturally too, as well.
Half
So
and half.
there's different ways of doing it. Just like there's different ways of doing beer, or real ale at that case, But I think at the end of the day, you always go to. For me, I'm a huge supporter of my yeast because they're my workhorses. They're the ones doing the beer. I just facilitate, clean up after them, and do other things, and then provide another environment where they could be healthy and grow and continue doing happy beer. But by no means, I don't do the beer. I just facilitate. And literally, if you guys, think about that, right?
I got
mean,
you the supplies. What are you going to do with them?
I go home and I sleep,
Yeah.
and they're rocking.
that
They're chugging down the sugars and, pooping
many
CO2
living
and other
24/7.
yumminess. And they don't sleep, and I keep feeding them and they love it.
There's so many living things on this planet.
Yeah.
Did you know that we're classified as a superorganism? Because if you had a picture of us, a naked you, and took away everything that is your DNA, there would still be a body-shaped thing there that is comprised of other living things that are not your DNA that cover your body all the time. We are a superorganism.
Which,
So gross.
it does look
pretty bad.
I have a bad
Yeah, it's
picture right
so
now in my
awesome.
head for some reason. Like some squishy, bubbly, rounded kind of thing. I don't know. But
It's your shell.
my shell.
You're barely yourself.
But you played well, by the way.
Thank you.
I was busy trying to help staff out. We were slamming on St. Patrick's Day here, and you were playing. You're rocking it out there. And I wish I would have just had a couple beers and sat and just chatted with you for a bit, or just even heard you. But I was in and out of here trying to entertain
It was
family
good.
and
You got
friends
feedback
and stuff.
saying
Yeah.
that guy's sexy.
Ooh. Ooh, yeah.
Talk about my bassist, Matty Gherkin, probably.
Yeah, probably.
His band, Nice Monster, also played. Shout out to Nice Monster.
Nice.
Another local band's really good.
Nice. You guys rocked it, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. We had a good crowd, too.
that.
I mean, people were just jamming.
It was good. I was happy for you guys because we got paid no matter what. But
True.
I tried to promote it. I tried to promote it. I paid to promote it on Facebook.
That's
as a matter
good.
of
Well,
fact.
well, and also too, we are known here for being very artistic. So
Yeah,
besides-
you have some
of
really
course,
good musicians in there as well. I think somebody was
awesome
asking
people.
about like I need to see like a jazz guitarist. I'm like, oh, you should go to King Cong. Like I've made that recommendation as
Get
well.
great music.
And again,
Yeah.
Andrew's doing it. I mean, we got quite
I
the
think
team
some
here, guys.
credit to Andrew
Yeah,
for a lot of the
yeah.
booking because he's got a lot of musical friends and he got them in quick and early, and so people just like playing here.
I mean, if
You
it
know-
wasn't for
know
that,
they like
I mean,
playing here.
it's the evolution of this place. It's kind of cool. We were known for music, I think, and I just started here in October, by the way, guys. So, shouts out to my old bosses out in Fairfield, Heretic Brewing Company. I mean, they're great. Jamil and Liz out there, Zane Chef, they're great people. They love them just because they gave me a shot. And I'm so happy that they, took the time to really
Was that post-London?
nurture. Yeah, it was. So actually, I met I met Jamil in a pub in London. I emailed him because a couple of brewers at Beavertown wanted to come out and try some beers out in this area. So I named a few and I emailed them. And then one of them was Jamil. I emailed and said, "Hey, are you going to be around? Could you host some folks?" And he's like, "No, I won't be here, unfortunately, but my staff will. I will be in London too. Where are you at?" And so I told him. And then I said, "Hey, man, if you want to bring your crew, I'll be at this pub. I got some beers being released there on tap, and then we'll go from there." So I brought staff, and we were about maybe 12 people came in and just chatted with him. And long story short, he kind of said over a few pints about midnight or 11 o'clock, he said, "What you doing after this?" I'm like, "Well, working." Well, he said, "Why don't you come work with me?" We emailed and exchanged emails for a bit, and then we decided that was the right thing for us. So, and which rightly so. I don't, even though being in London was great, it's really cool to learn their style of beer and stuff. But it's just really no life if you have because even work permits are temporary. So it's really hard to really lay your roots down in a different country. I mean, it goes both ways for Americans to that or vice versa. But, it's really hard to start fresh in a new country unless you actually marry a citizen of the country. And then that's super easy because you're automatically a citizen, right?
Yeah.
By marriage.
And
and
that
then-
process takes a while,
and-
right?
and
Or
that
at least
takes a
in
while.
America.
Yeah.
What's the UK process?
I mean,
versus American process, like green card style.
It's hard. So, anyways, but it was cool. It was cool being there and learning, and then it brought me to here. So, the path of life kind of, you just kind of have to have to look at open doors, because you could miss out on some good opportunities if you don't think about it. Yeah. Anyway, so and that's why I'm here because I thought this was a pretty great opportunity for me, and I think I made the right
I
choice.
like the beer if you're responsible for some of that.
I do it all, yeah. So I do some cooking too sometimes, guys. So if the barbecue, I love to barbecue, right? So
He books the act. He performs.
yeah,
here.
I sing sometimes too. But,
yeah.
Let's
I
hear
rap.
it.
I
Let's hear
rap
it.
better. No,
Here we go.
Reigning cornhole champion.
Oh, I don't know. I can't do it. But you
Butterflies.
Wow. Anybody?
All right.
Anybody
Time.
jump in? Ooh. Any?
No.
No.
Nope.
No.
Yeah. So this awful human being that's beatboxing right now. I'll do spoken word. I'll just do like an MC 900 for Jesus thing where I just spoken word over it.
Just do it. Quit talking about it.
Yeah. So I emailed him like, "Hey, would you like to be a guest on this podcast?" And he's like, "Sure, that sounds lovely. Where'd my beat go?"
Oh, pretty good. I like that. You almost rapped in there for a bit, I think.
Give it to him for a little while.
I could hear
and
it.
I want it.
Yeah. And this motherfucker, you know what he does? Within like a day, he sends me a new theme song. Sends me a new theme song.
I was happy
what was
that
the
I
theme song?
came up with it. I was inspired. I was like, I think I like writing jingles because I've done this a couple times. I just hear like,
we
somebody's got
hear
a
it?
podcast.
Let's do it. I mean, I want.
I'll actually be using it on the episode.
Here, I'll
It'll be
play it
the
right now.
intro.
I'll do it right now
Yeah.
for you guys. Let me try to remember it though. Let's see. I'm going to need a beat from you guys, though.
Oh.
Talk about something else while I remember how
Ding,
it
ding,
sings.
ding, 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 ding.
That's funny. That's what Maddie does when he tries to do a beatbox. He's like, ding, 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 ding,
So,
ding, ding,
while you're
ding,
remembering that
ding,
beat right
ding,
there,
ding,
Cinco de Mayo, guys, we're having some lowriders coming in. So one of the beers that I have on tap right here is called Cruising the Boulevard, which actually you're drinking
I'm
it
drinking
right
it
now.
It's very
Yeah.
good.
The design on that was, and if you look at my board, I have a couple that are pertaining to the Boulevard, and there's gonna be some more to come, hopefully, because I like the Boulevard series. That might be some tidbit for you guys, but Boulevard.
What's
series.
that? That's your series of beer? It's like
Could be, but I love the Boulevard. I love what's
this
going.
Boulevard.
This Boulevard,
Del Paso
so the
Boulevard.
Del Paso
Del Paso
Boulevard. So
I heard
cruising,
Del Paso Heights is technically a little bit more north of
it's
this.
very north of this. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Right. And we had a
Because there's an
friendly.
El Paso Road also. Very confusing.
It's very confusing for
So
those
this
who
is
don't
just
understand.
like uptown. This
This
is
is
North
actually-
Sacramento,
we had-
uptown, old school uptown.
Yes.
I like uptown.
And we had a
Justin Farron's grandma called it uptown.
Well, we
No
had
musician
we had an
locally?
officer come in. We had the doors open yesterday. We had an officer come in, and he was just chatting with us, and he sees what we're doing here, and he loves what's going on, and he's gonna bring his family out when he's off. But he was saying that this area here is really safe. He says that the problem areas are up north. So you go the boulevard down by, there's a Walmart over there, I guess, and a couple cross streets, but they're miles down. So, this area, he says, they cruise by every day, and this is a pretty cool pocket. And he loves what is happening, because like everything else, you start bringing some businesses, within a business.
Yeah, because for a long time, the only thing here really was that ice rink. And that's
Yeah.
seasonal. And
That was it.
Uptown Cafe shout out though,
Oh,
because
okay.
that's like
Nice.
8 years ago, 8
Yeah.
to 10 years ago. Is that still there?
No.
George, I mean, you could share more what's happening
Yeah, Uptown
here.
Cafe closed about 2 years ago, I believe,
Yeah,
which is a shame, but because that was the best breakfast spot you can go to.
Yeah,
But now, go to Sammy's. There's a lot of other local spots to
there's
visit
times
too.
like Wood Lake Tavern.
Wood Lake
the
Tavern is
Uptown
great.
Pizza, Burley Beverages.
Oh,
down the
yeah.
street here,
Right up the
whatever,
street,
Doing
yeah.
very
a little
well.
Space owned by a local musician. Burley Bev.
I'm loving how it's changing. Everything's going positive. Everybody's coming up. Everybody's coming together from different communities. I mean, you have Wood Lake right here. You have Uptown, like you said,
The
Old
Green
North
Hotel
Sacramento,
across the street.
the hotel.
That's a cool hotel.
And it was in one of the Sunset magazines, by the way. And
Is that the one with like the big, crazy, oversized playing cards or big letters?
The
or something?
hotel or the
yeah? Is
magazine?
that another motel?
It's just
that
across the
came
street right
in?
here.
Does it have little funky little?
on the side.
letter
Yeah,
things?
yeah. A little
You know
boutique
what I'm
kind of
saying?
thing.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah, but it was in Sunset magazine, and they actually were awesome. They shout out to King Cong too, and there was a little article, said,
Sunset
hey, if you stay
magazine?
here, you could, go out to, and we get people, believe it or not, people stay there from different states, and they'll come out here, and it's really cool. So
Cool.
we start getting these people from different areas coming out.
What's
and
their
enjoying
gimmick?
it.
What was the article featuring about the motel hotel?
Just
Holiday
if you're in
Inn.
Sacramento,
It's not a Holiday Inn. What's
I
it
know,
called?
but
It
I'm just
gets
picturing
Green's Hotel.
Green's Hotel.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know that's it. Now you want to rap.
Now he's
I'm
rapping.
rapping.
Now he's rapping.
Yeah, I also remember the theme song now.
Oh,
so,
so
I have that.
if you guys are in the rap, okay. So if you look at if you look at one of the beers on tap, it's a stout, and it's got a nice little introduction to a rap song.
Oh,
That's
what's that?
it's the Russian Imperial Stout that was brewed.
Is that the longest one on the menu there?
Yeah. What's the name of that?
I can't read it from here.
It was like Clear Black Night.
It was a clear black night.
So-
Yeah, a full moon.
Regulate-
Here's
regulate-
Oh, mount up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys give me this beat.
Here. I'll look up the lyrics here so you guys we can all jam to that right now.
No, give me this beat right now, though, and I'll sing the theme
None of us
song
have these
that
beats.
Ben
Oh
was
yeah,
talking
we don't
about.
know these beats.
Yeah.
I don't know that beat, man.
Yeah.
But
The beat I'm doing right now. Do this.
oh,
Somehow. You
Somehow.
guys. Yes.
Tap. Dum, dum.
You in front of me.
No, that's like.
Yeah, that's good.
Is that what we're doing?
Is that what we're doing?
I haven't
This
heard
beat.
this song in like 12 years.
We will. Is that
So do a beat, do a beat, and then I'll sing. That's what's going to happen.
Dum, Is that how it goes?
Yeah, that's what you got it.
Down yourself. Keep that beat, brother. Some they call it functional alcoholism, but if you know anything about Ben, he's got vision with precision, microphones and a tinkle of derision. You're about to hear what beer can be. It's time for Barley and me.
Yeah.
So
good.
I made it too fast. I made it too fast.
Yeah.
I made it too fast.
We threw
I
that.
recorded it. I spent a couple hours of my life thinking solely about Ben and this podcast that we're doing right now.
Cheers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I might need a refill, guys. You guys need a refill?
I
Or
do.
You guys,
I'll take a whatever.
I'll take a.
you guys chat while I get
that
a
lager.
refill. You guys, there's a great
Cong
pilsner
Brewing.
too, but called the Jungle, which is Czech for jungle, which is one of my personal favorite. But different beer. You want to try the different styles?
You know, I'm gonna stick with that lager. It's that good.
Well, you got to try the Jungle. Have you tried
I'll try
the
that
Jungle?
too. Bring it out here.
Just so you can see. I mean, this is my favorite.
I mean, I'll take whatever you want to bring.
Oh, the clear black night.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
I mean, that's
but like a small amount.
well, I mean,
professional.
we'll get you a lighter one first, and then we'll work your way to the dark ones.
Okay.
Because it's not nighttime yet.
yeah.
The sun's out. You know, you need some kind of thing.
You got to
got
take a
this
trip through life.
crazy good. It's crazy good IPA apricot.
Yeah.
That thing's good.
Yeah,
that's,
Bring a bunch of little cups.
Yeah. Bring some little cups. Get them over here. This episode of Barley Me is brought to you by the 10th anniversary of Sacramento Beer Week, which is quickly approaching. This 10-day celebration of Sacramento craft beer begins April 26th with the second annual Sac Mac and Brew Review, with a mac and cheese pairing competition alongside a brewfest of over 40 local craft breweries. Early bird tickets to the Sac Mac and Brew Review are on sale now at sacbeerweek.com. Prices go up on March 1st, so grab them now. Sac Beer Week continues with over 300 events throughout the greater Sacramento region, beginning April 27th and ending on May 5th. Check out the calendar starting on March 1st for a preliminary list of 2019 events at www.sacbeerweek.com. And check back regularly as the calendar is updated with fresh events constantly. I hope to see you out and about, sipping on suds and trading stories at Sac Beer Week, beginning April 26th and ending May 5th, 2019. Back to the show. All right, so what do we got here?
This is Jungle. This is a Czech style pilsner, which is a little different than the other one. It's a little bit more crisper. It's got more of a spicy hop aroma, a little hoppier. So the Mexican lager, of course, you know, you add corn, maíz, to it because that's kind of how the lagers evolved into Mexico, right? So the Germans settled in Mexico and they brought their lager strain, yeast, into Mexico, and then, you know, after brewing there, they had to get their ingredients from locally, right? So one of the biggest ingredient in Mexico, believe it or not, is corn. So maíz. Yeah. So you know, a lot of, you know, American lagers, they add rice to, you know, thin out the body a bit and do some other things, not add too much flavor, but, you know, you got that in that's kind of what makes a lager is that it should be super crisp and clean. You know, where you have your ales, like the first one you had, Cruising the Boulevard, that's more robust. Nice. You know, that'll put some hair on your face or your chest. I mean, you know, something like this is, you know, you're listening to a great band, you know, playing on a, you know, Sunday, Saturday, and you want to stick around and listen to the whole session. Then you want to drink like, you know, 5 or 6. Well, you don't have to do that because it's all in moderation.
Yes. You got to know yourself.
Lagers.
You got to know
Screw that, man. Lagers
how
are good.
chemicals are going to affect your body.
4.4%. Boom. Easy. It's like water.
Yeah.
Flavored water.
What's this Pilsner percent?
4.4.
Oh, it was that.
4.4.
Just like the Campion lager.
So a Campion, by the way, it's going to be served at Flaming Grill. So
my favorite spot. So
yeah.
What's mushrooms in Espanol? ¿Cómo se dice? Mushroom is it a champion?
Champion? No.
It's Campion? Something like that.
The champions?
Flaming Grill. I don't know if they have mushrooms there, but they have the Campion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They got mushrooms on one of their burgers, I think.
So, but they have all these kind of exotic meats.
Yeah.
Which I haven't eaten there yet. But
really?
Gator?
They have gators.
Yeah.
So if you guys
Gator
go
nuggets.
into the Sac Beer Week, guys, or whoever's listening to this podcast, Sac Beer Week, we're going to have our partners in crime there for the Mac and Brew, which is the opening night of Sacramento Beer Week. It's on a Friday, April. Let me look at my calendar. I think it's
25th?
Yeah, something like that.
I think it's a Thursday, 25th.
It's Friday.
Is it Friday?
Friday,
So
yeah.
it's 26th.
Anyways, Mac, like mac and cheese and brew. So we partner up with Flaming Grill.
Nice.
And we might serve El Campion there, but maybe we'll serve something different. I don't know. You guys, but it's gonna be hot probably. I hope so. And we're gonna have something where hopefully Jose, the owner of Flaming Grill, will give us some nice little wild mac and cheese, and then maybe we'll introduce something kind of wild.
Jose's great. I remember the first time I went there, I was like, this is the best burger I've ever had. And then I was just making a deposit at like my bank, and there was a Flaming Grill truck there. And then the guy it was Jose wearing his Flaming Grill shirt. I'm like, I love your food. He's like, oh, our anniversary's this weekend. You should come by. And I've been like loyal ever since.
Yeah, it's great spots.
Check it out. And the only other gator meat I heard of, and I had it on my radar even, was Sandra D's.
Mm-hmm.
So now Flaming Grill. Versus Sandra D.
They have
gator meat.
lion meat, and some other kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Wild boar is
very good.
Yeah, which should be. But some other things too.
My favorite is kangaroo.
Kangaroo,
Because kangaroo it's a very stringy meat. It's not particularly like moist, but it does amplify whatever you put on it. So I always like give me your habanero burger and just like make it like 5 times spicier. It's so nice.
They have like a special too. I've had their burger where it's like a mixture of meat. Where it's like, you know, grass-fed beef and then with mixing a little bison
and then bacon
and a little bit of boar and a little bit of bacon.
Yeah.
So you're just getting this tasty.
just so much.
Oh,
yeah.
it's a flavor party in your mouth.
Oh, I love that place. I also want a wing eating competition there. No big deal using their hoser sauce, covered wings.
So if you love hot stuff,
also their sauces are now available for sale.
George, can you introduce him to the Clacking Hot or whatever that thing is?
The Clucking Hot,
that
National Proper.
Is that on one of those shows? What's that hot wing show? Was it on that? Hot Ones?
I don't know.
Never mind.
It's
I've heard a couple stories about the same.
They just recently
super
opened.
hot,
It used to be
super hot,
Cecil's Taste,
spicy.
and now it's National Proper food trucks
Oh.
that have been around.
Well, I want to warn you though. I was pooping for like 2 days.
Yeah, I don't want that.
And
That
I mean,
sounds bad.
it was good.
You gotta know what to do with the
price you
chemicals you
pay.
put in your
But
body. and how
I
they're
didn't have the
gonna affect
Mexican
your
lager
body.
out in that time, so I would have probably chugged like 5 Mexican lagers by the time I finished the burger. But
I had a couple
it
of
was
ice
too
next to me
hot.
while we were eating
It
this.
took me like an hour to finish it.
That's like a whole new
and I was
drug.
hurting for 2 days. So,
Yeah.
but it's good. It's good,
It
right?
tasted super
But
good.
the
Nice.
competition I was in, you weren't allowed to have any water or any ice cream or anything to like calm it down. You had to sit there and let it just boil your face. You had to eat everything, then wait a minute. And just like let
the longest minute of your life.
Secret is don't breathe. Don't breathe through your mouth. That just lets it all. It just singes
They
it.
should have done a time lapse of people's face coloration.
Oh no, there's film.
change or something.
There's
Film.
film.
Crying.
Oh yeah.
The whole thing. That would have been interesting.
If I do a deep
Speed it
search,
up.
I'll find
tears
it
of shame.
on YouTube. Like it was brought on. It was sponsored by Sudwerk down in Davis, and so they had a rep there who ended up like freaking out, and, like taking his shirt off and running away. Didn't even finish the plate. He's like, "It's too hot to go."
Damn. That's a good tasting room in the back of the Sud work over
Oh
there.
yeah, the dock. Whoo.
Yeah, Doc's been pretty
the dock back
awesome
there.
job.
That's
Yeah.
Did you know
Another
that
must
you-
go to for Sac Beer Week. man.
Absolutely, yeah.
Did you know that you can ride a jump bike from Sacramento to Davis, but you have to leave it in the small service area that is Davis if you're going to leave the bike there, but you can go ahead and do that. Leave a Sacramento jump bike in Davis and vice versa.
Okay, cool.
There you go. Take a little trip from
Interesting.
Davis on a jump bike.
I haven't ridden a jump bike, but
from-
I heard they're pretty cool.
Dave,
they're
pretty
fast.
fast.
Yeah,
You're outside the service area here, dag nabbit, I think
Really?
is the case.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
They might expand it soon, I hope.
I think so.
It's
yeah,
a
I hope
small
so.
service area.
we get people coming from
'cause you're right
Midtown,
outside of Midtown,
downtown,
really.
on bikes.
Sure.
I mean, some of our
It's close.
staff
It's
rides,
very close.
their bikes to work. So
Yeah.
It's very close. I think somebody just chose the arbitrary border of the river, like so many people
Yeah.
do. They didn't realize that there's such density here.
Yeah.
But you know,
And there's so many
the jump
pathways
bikes
into it.
Shoot,
Seems like a
you just
successful
gave me a
program.
good idea. I mean, I'd rather have
You know, lobby jump and say, get that.
Well, not only that, but whoever rides their
Start, yeah.
bicycles here in the summertime, maybe a discount on the beer or something, half off or some kind of incentive. If you're riding a bicycle, I mean, I don't know if there's any
You're a
difference
good
riding
man.
a bicycle
You're
or
a good
driving
man
a
to
car.
propose that.
I mean, or something just to have people come out and do some exercise for one. Be healthy.
You about to drink a ton of calories.
a ton. Well, unless they do the lagers though.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh.
last.
Come in, drink one lager,
But-
leave.
I mean, clear Black Night may have about
Yeah.
a couple meals worth.
Yeah.
So we gotta play.
Some might say.
I was
think we
trying
gotta-
to
we gotta start
consume
singing
this
by the time.
bourbon aged
Regulators,
stout.
mount up.
Is that from Young Guns?
Young Guns. Is
I
that
forgot that movie. I think so, though. I think that.
Oh, you're right.
That sound sample in that Nate Dogg song.
I think we're gonna have to look up the song and we have to probably play it.
Well.
I mean, we kind of have to, and especially when we're
You're gonna
releasing
play
the
that
beer,
song then
obviously.
in the podcast, right?
can't.
Yeah.
Oh, you
yeah.
can't. We
Well,
go
why?
like-
You're not charging.
Copyright.
Is it right
That's
that you're not
true.
charging?
You can't.
I feel like
So
it's a
if
very
he sued
gray.
you, he would have to like
prove
prove
that I
you made any
monetized
amount
it.
of money,
And
which
I'm like,
you are not making
I'm like, do you wanna
any
see the
money.
do you wanna
no
see
matter
it?
how silky smooth John's voice is,
Do you wanna
ain't
see-
making no money.
Me hemorrhaging money? Like you have ads. You're making money. Like those ads are played that we trade. I get a service and they get a service. I don't get there's no money exchanged. I get
Well, I could hook them with some free beer if they want to come over here and have some beer with us.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Yeah.
they could sing the
Mount
song
up.
for us. Mount up.
Yeah.
Come out. What do you got?
and
LA?
and come
They
trying
don't.
to consume
Regulate-
our beers for the eve. You know, like that. Like,
Yeah. So I mean, we could probably make up our own song though.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the voice, you got the beatboxing. I mean, you got.
Well, I can't
I mean,
do both.
we're gonna get
I'm
George
gonna
singing
need a
here
beat
pretty
from you
soon,
guys.
but I think he needs another round of beer.
Georgie.
I mean, George.
Yeah.
What's
is,
he going to sing about, Georgie? It's going to come out his mouth, Georgie.
Oh.
He's going to sing a song real soon.
Yeah.
It's going to be about you and
No.
zoos and roo meat.
let's go into it.
we
Dean,
got?
Be Brave, Bold Robot. What is it? Who is it? How is it? What are you doing?
It's my songwriter project that is a full-on band of really neat people that I've had the pleasure to play with for years and years and years. Lots of these guys. Maddie Gherkin, who I previously mentioned, who goes ding 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 ding. Whenever I start beatboxing, it's fun.
That's
when
like
he does that, and he
80s.
does other fun
Yeah.
things. And he's been playing with me for like 11 years. And then I got some other guys playing with me. Micro Weeze on the drums. He plays with Idea Team, who should be playing Concert in the Park. I didn't see him on the roster. I don't know if they applied. And Micro Weeze plays with Huero and CFR as well. Do you familiar with any of these bands? Idea Team, CFR is this masterful three-piece,
Local Sacramento?
all local. In fact, Micro Weeze lives in Woodlake.
Is the R for Ruiz?
Right over here. The R is for Ruiz in CFR, and the C is for Cacciatore. Brad Cacciatore, really good bassist. He might move soon, so hopefully we'll get to see them a few more times. And then Andre Filling is the F in CFR. And this guy plays keys and guitar like a frickin'
Wow.
Andre Filling is a really good local musician, of many good local
There's
musicians.
so many. It's
and
nuts.
you'll see a lot of them at King Kong. The whole community that
They're coming
embraces
out,
a lot
yeah.
of these
Yeah.
people
Good.
love Andrew and King Kong. And just a cool place to play, which this place is. But yeah, Be Brave Bold Robot. That's my band. Check it out on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Be Brave Bold Robot. I made a zine. You guys ever made a zine? Which is a homemade magazine.
Yeah.
Of course. It's like a little, you see the little paper things with
Yeah.
people with their stuff. I made one of those like 15 years ago, 14 years ago. And I was going to open mics at the time trying to play the songs I had written. And I decided to start making a zine. I just made this zine, made some copies, stapled them, and I needed a name for it. And a friend going to Humboldt State University said, "Hey," we were emailing back and forth, and she said, "Oh, check out here at the end of this email here. I'm going to tell you, Dean, that I saw this quote written in the female bathrooms at Humboldt State University, and it was Be Brave Bold Robot." And
That's so
I
awesome.
said, that's cool, and I need a name for my zine. So then I used it on the zine, and a couple years later, actually had people that wanted to play music with me, and used it for that. And then that's Be Brave Bold Robot, the band, taken from a zine name, taken from graffiti in Humboldt State University.
And you know what's really funny is you're from Sacramento. I'm from Sacramento. We met in Humboldt.
Oh.
We did at the at
Savage
the
Henry Comedy
Savage Henry is in. Why don't you, Ben, say a little bit about Savage Henry?
Savage Henry Comedy Festival. Savage Henry's like Savage Henry Independent Times. You can put together what that says in an acronym. Very fun. It's a little comedy magazine up in like Eureka area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I
they just
never
opened
got
up
the
a
acronym.
Yeah.
Savage Henry.
Yeah, so I get it
So
now.
comedy
So I
magazine
mean, I only
up
been
in,
to up in that area
Humboldt.
once or twice, but I love that. Well, for one, it's known for their sticky icky, but
Yeah.
I mean, they're known for their beer too.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that makes
Las
sense
Cosas
now,
right
right?
there.
So you guys like to play and like to
Yeah.
to
I like it to
enjoy
play.
some lagers. some lagers.
I love that area up there.
Yeah, it's
I
so
try to go.
fun.
It's actually Be Brave Bold Robot tries to get up there once a year, kind of like clockwork. And we've developed these friendships with people up there.
Nice.
Shout out to John Luddington. If you like lyrical music, Google John Luddington.
Wow.
John.
All right.
Luddington. Ludington.
See, I thought there was 2 Ds.
I'm glad I spelled it.
Yeah, I'm glad you
It's
spelled it.
important to spell some shit out.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
But yeah,
you have to educate the people.
that festival's really fun. You know, after I think, had I already hurt myself when we met, or had I not yet hurt myself?
You had just come from playing something else. We were
Yeah.
one of the few bands, I think, that ever has really played the Savage Henry Music Comedy Festival, because it's all stand-up comedians, just one after the other in several locations around our Arcata and Eureka. It's put on by Chris
Durant.
and his few other friends that are like co-publishers of
Like
Savage
Evan
Henry
Fest and all those
Independent
guys.
Times.
Yeah.
And we got to play in this cool little theater, the Eureka Theater.
It's Arcata Theater.
Arcata Theater?
Yeah, you were in Arcata, I'm pretty sure.
That's where it was. Arcata Theater.
Arcata Playhouse.
Arcada Playhouse
Yeah.
is where we played.
I recorded an episode of Great Moments in Weed History because they forgot the recording equipment.
So you recorded it?
Yeah.
You had your stuff on you?
Yeah, I had my stuff on me because I was like, well,
They were panicking, I
because we did.
remember.
Yeah, because I was like, Lost Coast is right there, Redwood Curtains is right there. So I'm like, I mean, I'll try to get a podcast in. I should bring my stuff just in case, and end up doing one with Lost Coast, which is pretty cool.
We were speaking a little bit earlier about the listenership of Barley and Me, which, by the way, is a companion podcast to your podcast about going to craft spirit makers called Turner and Hooch.
Right. Well, actually,
That was in the kitty.
actually, I called that one "How is Distill a Thing."
How is this?
How is
But
this
now
still
it's still
a
a thing.
thing?
But it's
Nice. I like it. I'm following.
This is a
Did
lot
you
more
get my
work
dog
than Turner.
reference?
Yeah, I mean,
Marley
yeah,
and Me and
I
Turner
did.
and
You know what?
Hooch.
Yeah,
You know what? Turner and Hooch is a better
yeah,
one, and now I'm
yeah.
mad about it.
Go.
So, guys, I mean, the cool thing about being, where you're at, so you got a lot of weed and you got a lot of beer, but, those for the hop heads out in Sacramento, I mean,
Hot pants.
hot pants, hot heads, hop heads,
Hop heads.
hop heads,
And op-eds.
So, I mean, you guys all know that, hops and cannabis are related,
Very
correct?
much.
Very similar. In fact,
Correct.
I had a friend philosophically mused some years ago about trying to grow a interbred plant
Oh.
that
A hybrid.
had some sort of hairy THC things on it, but was also hops. But you can't do it.
Well, we got a Stratus Cloud, which Strata Hop developed by Oregon State University, Oregon State, not the Beavers, not the Ducks. And it was grown out by Indie Hops, a farmer out there, and that has weed, hops, everything combined. It's pretty cool, pretty dinky, and everything else. So if you guys want to try that later, I mean, it's cool. But I mean, that's where kind of things, that's where you kind of hear the
You
word.
got the weed terpenes in it, or the flavoring.
The flavoring of them, yeah.
Which is that in the terpenes? I mean, that's the term, right? For like
This is
flavor
just the
chemicals.
oils. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, terpenes. Yeah. Well, weed has terpenes. Yeah, speaking of terpenes,
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm doing more introduction to the future beer styles here, guys. King Cong. So we actually going to be, I think, one of the first Sacramento breweries. I haven't really confirmed that quite yet, but we got a yeast strain that actually creates natural terpenes during fermentation. Terpenes. So the cool thing about this is that we're going to be able to get some nice flavor out of fermentation without having to use hops.
Oh.
So, cha-cha-cha, I'm not going to say any more, but that's future to
Proprietary.
anybody could grab it. Anybody could buy it. I'd say it's a lab out of Berkeley.
Bunch
Berkeley,
of nerds
California.
making beer better.
Yeah, well.
So why does that help?
Biologist-
Does it save on the money that hops would cost or
Yeah.
something? Okay.
Because again, my first comment earlier was the yeast do all the work.
Yeah.
Right. So
And you can kind of secure it and use it, reuse it, recycle
efficiencies,
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yeah. See,
close the loop.
yeah. The more I don't have to put in a tank, which is all natural, the better it is.
it. Oh, man, that's going to be
The
great.
better everything is when you're all
Oh,
natural.
so putting less like hops and
Correct,
you're potentially injecting impurities into the mix every time you try to put in something else
Exactly.
for flavor that can ruin the process.
Well, because you think about that, right? So any leaf matter has other compounds that are released in a beer, which I think kind of makes the beer what it is. When you isolate that, it becomes almost like one-dimensional, and so. But you could always add that back in a less amount and get a beer that's probably more rounded. So I'm going to experiment with that here pretty soon, because I think that we need to get to a point where we give a lot of credit to the yeast, and we start doing these styles that are really good and clean, and it's all done in this really cool natural way. And then also too, the cool thing is that a lot of people actually get injured by dry hopping, which means you add hops to the tank to dry hop to get the flavors. Because these tanks, ours are pretty small, but there's other facilities that have huge tanks, and you have to go up there and dose a bunch of hops in there, right?
Yeah.
So think about the danger involved in that. But if you avoid that, because they used to do it naturally,
Yeah.
how safe is that?
That's safe. How do they get injured? They just get up there in a ladder and they're like already been drinking a little bit like people who brew beer do.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Or they're all jittery from all the coffee they drank.
Or that.
a
Or
weird
it's just
thing.
Or
it
just slips.
Yeah,
Little. You ever make a mistake?
slippage. It happens.
Sometimes they're very inconvenient times.
Measure twice, pour once.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's a lot of things. Breweries are pretty dangerous. I mean, you got chemicals and other things, but if you go along with actually the yeast doing their thing and creating the beer that they make, how cool is it to enhance it a bit through fermentation?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, just telling that story can be a gimmick of sorts to get people drinking the beer.
Sure.
Because as we know, there are a ton of IPAs, a glut
'Cause there's
of beer in the area.
Because there's currently the boilless Kveik yeast coming back. People are kind of like doing that. So you're like, you know what? We're actually going to go hopless IPAs. We're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool.
the word hopless. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah.
I guess because it's a new thing, like you said.
Yeah, so we'll see. It's just fairly new, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean, it's a development.
It's a clear new day.
Yeah, clear new day. Yeah. So let's see what those.
Yeah. Brand new day.
He's gonna get me singing by the end of the night, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's what he does.
Or in a day.
Let's see what you got. What you got, Ben?
I'm so out of practice.
Brand new day.
It's a brand new day.
Not bad.
Not bad. I'm out of practice. Hella out of practice. And that was on the moment, just so we're all clear that there was no plan for this.
Well, it doesn't matter. This is fun times here.
Yeah. He just wants us to rap so much. He's just
He
like,
does.
Come on, just
Next time you come to King
Freestyle
Cong,
rapping is fun.
I want to hear you rap.
You get your friends and you do
How
a little
cool is that,
hum.
man? Think about that.
What
Because you
do
rapped
is
on it
you
a
don't
couple
stop.
albums ago.
You keep
You did?
going. I have, for people out there listening,
17
Google 17 people. Google Be Brave, Bold Robot.
17 plus us, right?
17 albums.
19.
I was saying.
Oh,
He's
17
got- He's got
albums.
933 albums.
Yeah,
And
that's
one
a
of
lot.
them,
Famous.
because I'm all over the. If you're going to make that many albums, you're going to get all over the place. I got a soul album, I got a gospel album, and I made a rap album called the Short Raps Project. So just Google Be Brave, Bold Robot Short Raps Project, where I'm rapping on a bunch of short raps, and local friends are rapping on a bunch of short raps. You know, Zach Sappanur plays a stand-up bass
No.
in a couple of like all the cool local swing bands. He's a stand-up bass player. He raps on it.
Nice.
Be Brave, Bold Robot, Short Raps Project.
Cool.
What? What was the question?
Oh, I have none.
I know.
How would you, if you were going to be like, hey, I have a band, and this is what it's like, how would you describe it?
Oh, well,
It's like me with my ideas, and I record them.
yeah, well, somebody's got to start. You have to have people that like to play music. My particular band situation, I've done most of the songwriting. So these are songs that I sit at home and I'll write them out on a guitar with the intention of playing the songs pretty much how I just wrote them on the guitar there in my underwear in my room, and then knowing that the bandmates that I have earned
Yeah.
are going to play their instruments along with it, and you just hope that they like the song and they'll play along with it. And then that begins like a democratic process of having a band and have everybody feel as though they like the songs. Like these guys shouldn't have to and aren't going to play a song of mine that they might not like. So there's that. And then if they like it, they put their own stank on it and they get their parts going. And then you have practices where you get together with these friends of yours and you practice in a live setting playing the parts that maybe they wrote at home, listening to the demo recording of just me and the guitar, and then we get together and have these fun practices. And a different way of writing songs would be getting together in a practice setting, much like I just described, which is one of the funnest parts of having a band. You're getting together with your friends to just play music, whether it's to songs that you guys already know are happening, or you're going to write songs in the moment. And a lot of bands, I think, do write songs in the moment. It's a different way to do it, and often happens with a collaborative songwriting process where you're jamming and they're like, oh, that could be a song. Let's stop. Let's pick out parts. And I think that's a fun process. My process hasn't been that way because, like I said, I kind of pre-write the song sometimes. And so that process daunts me. I'm not the musician that a lot of people that I play with and that are in the music scene are really. I wonder if every band you asked them what their practice is like, if they wrote in practice or if people wrote parts outside of practice and then came to practice with formed ideas to whatever pre-written song. But practices are fun. You can imagine. I mean, you guys probably have similar things. You get together with friends and you're doing a similar thing together. It'd be like playing a game or brewing beer or whatever, but you're just playing music.
Yeah.
Beer's usually involved.
So does anybody else ever walk up like, excuse me, Dean, I wrote a thing that I think that you would like, and maybe instead of you being the leader, I take the lead on this one. I have a song I like that I think would work.
I'd love that if that happened. It hasn't really happened. Matty Gherkin, my longtime bass player, he writes his own songs under the band Nice Monster, and he's just a pretty talented musician who also knows how to kind of arrange songs. So he's a very valuable bandmate, and he's given me like a couple of just instrumental things, and I said I'd try to write some lyrics to him, but I don't think I was successful at doing that. So that's happened. So that really hasn't happened, but I'd totally let that happen. I'd love it. Yeah. Katie Turner, my viola player, if she was like, Dean, I want to sing this one. Here's my melody. Write some guitar to it. And then I would totally love that. And then Carly Duhane, she's been singing with me recently. She's a songwriter. And there's actually a really good song of hers, this cute little simple song about a kite, from the kite's perspective, which she has said
very
that
on brand for
she
you.
doesn't even want to play. Yeah, it's cool. It's a narrative. It's pretty. She has said that she wants us to play that, so I'm sure Carly will like take the lead singing that in the future when we arrange that and practice it.
It's always fun to talk to like creative people about their processes. Like for me, I do stand up and like to talk to people like how they write and how they perform. Like there's like people that like really like I listen to every set and I take notes about what got laughs and what didn't, and I write for an hour a day. Doesn't matter what, I just grab a notebook and I write, and whatever comes out, maybe there's something good, maybe there's not, but like I'm in practice. And there's people like, I experience life and then I go on stage and I'm like, what happened in the last, like, since the last time I was on stage, and if something comes out, great. And it's just like really weird to like, there's all these ways to do it and there's like no wrong way. Yeah. Unless you're bad at it. And then it's like, no, you just don't know yet. The way you're doing isn't working. There's other ways. There's like 10,000 ways to do it. Like, brewing is always kind of a mystery to me. I'm like, because you're like, I'm going to go spend like $80 on stuff, on materials. I'm going to go brew like 5 gallons, and I think it'll work. In my experience, this should come out this way. Yeah. And hopefully.
Let's see what the fans say.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's just
that's just homebrewing. Like just like $80, and we're like, maybe this is. I mean, I thought this was how it's going to taste, and it like doesn't come out that way. You're like, oh no, what do I do?
Yeah, the cool thing about homebrewing though is I think it gets you the experience of the process of doing the beer. What it takes. There's other things that homebrewers just don't realize that commercial breweries have to pay attention to. Sometimes the details matter more than the process. And George is he's
The
home brewer
details being the
to
process. You can't be. It's not. It is an art, but it's very much a science.
Yeah, because it's almost like, I say it's like a chef, right? So you could always follow a recipe. You could replicate it. But can you really create one that's delicious by knowing the balances of flavors and plus the chemical reaction happening within the cooking process? And that's where, I think brewing is completely an industry where you could have engineering, you could have science. Science is engineering. So, but you could have, biology, chemistry.
So much.
I mean, you got everything that you could do, and like even in King Cong, we're so small, but you got to understand how a pump flows. So, and about cavitation and what the pump's capable of doing. That's engineering, mechanical engineering. But yeah, you also have to know about water profiles too. I mean, what kind of sour beer you're making, what flavor you want to get out, because water does matter. Water is 90% of the ingredient in brewing.
Interesting. Yeah, I imagine as a beer ferments and changes.
So imagine
the water you used at the beginning is
soft
gonna
water,
play
hard
more
water,
of a role.
exactly.
all that stuff.
I mean, if I say, hey, are you going to do a beer that's made out of sewer water, or water that has a lot of chlorine in it?
Yeah.
So you have to know that too. And you don't have to get to the actual ion composition. I mean, I love that, but you don't have to.
But it helps.
But it helps because if you're really into it and you want to get to the next level and you want to make consistent beer over and over again, all those matter. As a home brewer, it doesn't really matter. You make one great batch. You don't have to replicate.
And you can't really.
You're not in the business of
beer.
selling
Yeah,
the beer.
you may take notes, but you're not.
I mean, that's the love about like home brewing, right? I started home brewing, but
And the water type, that's not the thing that's going to mess, quote unquote, mess up some beer. I mean,
because
it's
at the end of the day, if it's
be
drinkable,
slightly different. If it's drinkable.
it's good. Yeah. I mean, but commercial breweries, so breweries who are in for trying to make
There's
some
some
money.
people there. Can they come in? What time is it?
No.
No. I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, like on a commercial thing, like you have to replicate it. You can't be like, oh, I had this beer 2 weeks ago, and I came back and I drank it again, and it was not the same.
Yeah. Because we can, but I don't think we will retain a lot of customers.
Yeah, that's true. The secret is when you screw it up, just name it something different.
No,
just change the name.
I mean,
on it.
I don't
Like,
believe in
we're
that.
all out of-
I'm like completely against that. I'd rather toss a beer down the drain than to cook it up. Yeah.
But what if it's still good, just not what it was before?
Nah, it can't be called the same.
No,
Or you
we
can't
can't
name
change
it.
the
No,
name.
it's not fair. No, learn from it, replicate it.
Yeah.
Learn from
That's
it.
good.
Right?
That's art.
Dude.
That's it's like you're talking about these artists here in the Boulevard, by the way. So the Boulevard has a lot of artistic folks, like we said before, but a lot of murals that have been painted, wide open
walls.
Wide open walls was here, and we have a mural of a big gorilla with a big stein.
Oh, yeah. Was that during Wide Open Walls?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Boom.
So is
So-
that Greg Sabine? Is that it right?
So that one's Glob who did it,
Yeah.
Sacramento guy. So cheers to Glob.
Sacramento
But
local.
I guarantee
Glob?
if you ask Glob,
GLOB?
yeah, right. If you ask Glob and he made a mistake, he would probably fix it. He wouldn't say, "Well, I'm just gonna."
Because it's just one off. He's not going to do another.
But I think he takes a lot of pride in what he does.
Yeah.
He also did the wall behind it
Yeah.
as well.
But I guarantee you, he probably notices some defects that we probably
Yeah,
don't.
that we probably don't. Yeah, because he's in
sure.
it.
He's in it.
Like it's like when you.
And that's one of the things that I teach, all my brewers that I always have taught in the past. And this is something that I've learned as a young brewer that I want to pass on to my future brewers always is, being aware of your environment, which is something that I think a lot of people, like I said, we talked about the English folks who don't build these fences, but we
Community-minded, I just
Americans,
thought of that as
we're
well.
tunnel vision. But if you're aware of your environment,
You get, and I wanted to go earlier when you were saying that about just community versus not community. It stems from a comfort with your neighbors and your neighborhood.
Sure.
And that lacks in a lot of like freshly popped up suburb environments, which America has a lot of that.
Sure. Suburbia.
Suburbia is a crazy thing, and we're a suburban nation.
And
We
I would
are
like
a very suburban nation, yeah.
and I would like to submit that
let's go with that.
at the very beginning of the podcast, when you were talking about this, it's like Americans are just go, go, go. And you're basically saying people should stop and smell the roses. I think we should take a second here to stop and smell these hops, which are
Well, I mean,
flowered.
a good example, George could share more, but, I've been a part of his home brewing at his house, and he's got the amazing little kegerator out in his place. So if you guys ever want to party at his
George,
house,
you have some really cool, crazy stuff like a sour. Is that you can use the same very small capacity brewing equipment to make a sour? You just can't contaminate another brew you have going on. I know that. That's why you don't find a lot of sours in small brew operations, because the yeast can cross-contaminate. But do you have some crazy? George got a crazy?
So
it's really good.
back to suburbia and stuff. I mean, he lives in a suburban community, but the stories he tells me when he's homebrewing out at his front yard, how the neighbors just kind of smell the nice mash happening, which is kind of a cool thing. But they come in and they're walking and like, oh, you're brewing beer? Oh yeah, and then he shares. So that's bringing the community in through a vessel called beer, which is cool. And I think that's what we need to do, right? I mean, come on, guys. I mean, not everybody's going to be homebrew, not everybody's, but I think if we just open our doors to, well, some people are
Recovering alcoholics, I meant.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Some they call it functional alcoholism, but if you know anything about John, he's got vision. If you know anything about George, he's got vision. You guys can use that for your voicemail.
Yeah. We have to put it on our Facebook.
So do that.
Sorry.
Just
trademarked.
Trademark it. Oh,
It's like, excuse me, do you have a one-syllable name and you're in the brewing community? I have a song for you.
Yeah. We'll sign. We'll sing you the same song with your name. A song with your name in it.
I feel like we're at the House of Rock. Isn't that the movie there with,
School of
Jack
Rock.
Black? School of Rock, yeah.
School is good.
Yeah, where he's he's teaching them and he just goes on this little.
Oh, are you comparing me to Jack Black?
Maybe.
That's lovely.
He's good.
I love my male brewing industry counterparts. They treat me with respect and dignity. I don't mind being the odd female in the brew house whatsoever. This industry is rad in this respect, in my experience. All of my negative female gendered incidences have come from contact with outside service workers, construction contractors, boiler repairmen, electricians, etc. These boys have asked for who was in charge when it was obviously just me around running things, ignored me, and found a subordinate male of mine to ask questions, interact with, and asked me to smile more while doing routine grunt tasks that don't make anyone at all care to smile.
My opinions and knowledge were frequently ignored by the people, almost entirely white men who I worked with. At one point, I spent the better part of the day arguing with someone, an older white guy, surprise, about whether 12 fluid ounces of beer or 12 fluid ounces of water would occupy more volume in a can. For those not so familiar with weights and measures, a fluid ounce is a volumetric measurement. And that guy is dumb as a rock for arguing over this. The worst part of my experience in the industry, though, was that when I finally started work at a brewery that actually had other women in production, one of them acted like I was somehow a threat to her status and took every opportunity to stab me in the back. So, after getting a brewery science degree from college in hopes of making a career out of brewing, I left the industry.
But back to what you were saying, which was that beer is wonderful. I mean, what's the Benjamin Franklin quote that the existence of beer makes me
proof that
think
God
that
wants
there's a
us to
God.
I mean,
wants us to
we
be happy.
changed it a little bit on that, but it
I'm
was
kinda
the
atheist,
same.
but I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of.
Andrew's here, everybody.
No,
He's the food
Look at
connoisseur.
that.
Hey, come here and speaking about your food. So Andrew, the guy who is like head of the kitchen and also books and bands and stuff we were talking about him earlier, he makes a lot of good. He's coming up with creations for the kitchen.
What have we here?
This is the Imperial Stout beer bread made with Kalamata olives and cloves of garlic.
Oh, okay.
Some whipped butter on the side.
Nice.
Dig in.
Did you whip that butter?
No.
Oh.
God, no.
Yeah.
Whip it good.
He churned it up though.
Yeah,
How did it come out? Did you squeeze it out of a thing?
Yeah,
just now?
Piping bag, make it look all cute.
Piping bag.
Yeah, people like plating.
Yeah. You think it's for cakes? It's for butter.
Yeah.
Butter, cream, and just regular ass butter.
Cupcakes, all that. No, butter.
All right. Do you guys want to do this? Do you want to try this out on air?
Is
Tasty
bread?
tasties.
I don't know if that's
Grab a couple.
good radio.
Here's the terrible thing. I hate butter.
You don't need it.
I'm going to use it though because it would be rude. He did all the piping.
George, get that.
Yep. There you go.
Cut that.
Just real sloppy.
It's gonna get sloppy.
That's. I like that you're like, I'm gonna cut a half, and then you're like, nope, I give up. Take the whole piece. You just don't touch it. You wouldn't want to touch it. What if somebody else wants the same piece you want? And got it. All right. Still warm. I love warm bread. It's the best.
Yeah, this is very warm, and I can smell that garlic. It looks like a wheat cinnamon raisin kind of bread. It's got that brown color. The olives look like raisins. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get it close to your face.
I thought it was gonna be raisins.
You think it's gonna be sweet? It's actually
Yeah.
What a
super
smell!
This
What
is
a
really
nice
good.
garlicky smell.
I didn't think Kalamata olives and bread. That sounds insane.
sweet. Right?
Actually, I think I've
Saltiness.
had it before. It's actually this is delicious.
Andrew, you're in a couple of bands. You're also a musical man.
Too many.
What bands are those?
Good News Club, Sacramento, California, blues band. Imbibed by the Quasar is a little more extreme, heavier
Imbibed
music.
by the Quasar.
Yeah,
That's a
space-
little metal singing.
Yeah.
Can you do a little metal singing for
I
me
don't
right
know
now?
if you might get peaked out or not.
Just a little bit. Do it. Just do it. Yeah. Say Barley and Me. That's the name of the podcast.
Sure enough.
He's like, no, I'm not going to sing. He wants.
Yes. Your muscles in your face were tensing. That was
That's what
very
happened.
good. Very good.
I love that. But my mom's she's a music professor, and she's like, there's wrong ways to scream because I was listening to Deftones and stuff.
There is absolutely.
And she's like, oh no, the way he does it, he's going to blow his voice out. Then sure enough, he blew his voice out.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing.
Like
and it takes
permanently?
years of practice.
Well, yeah.
No, yeah.
He had, like, some-
It's muscles, so they tear. They
Yeah.
rip and tear like
Yeah.
everything else.
And she's
they
like,
re-repair.
and like my mom's, I'm like, what do you know about screaming? She plays she was in a barbershop quartet because she has an incredible vocal range. It's insane. Like she can go down to a bass 1 and up to soprano 2. Like she's nuts.
Wow.
Which is why I'm always mad that I was like, my revolt as a youth was like, I'm not going to listen to music or do it. Take that, Mom. Idiot. Regret every day.
Suit yourself, you bad singer.
Yeah, right. I'm so mad at myself. It's just this.
Again, it's just muscles. You can always train yourself.
Yeah.
You can always learn.
I think humans can sing.
Yeah.
Many more humans can sing than think they can
I,
sing.
I think
Just
it's
gotta
more of
practice a bit.
a psyche problem.
Mm-hmm.
People can't get over their fright, fear.
Of being off.
Yeah, or anxiousness or
fear.
things like that. That's when you first start. You get
That's
your
like-
typical jitters and everything.
I was a good singer in high school. I eventually overcame the I'm screw you, Mom. Eventually it's I'll do it. I was pretty good. Then I stopped doing it. And
Punk
it's just
rock,
math. Yeah. All
You
right.
don't have to sound good.
We all do it all the time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Here's a little funny tidbit, too. I don't know how many people want to know that they work here, but you have quite the cast of people working here. It's kind of a small crew, but you got you, the musician.
Mm-hmm.
We got John and George, who we heard, who are musical men in their own right.
Sure enough.
They're verbose and fun to listen to.
Absolutely.
And they can brew beer really well and stuff. Then you got Cong Nguyen, who graduated from the UC Davis brewing program. Then you got Scott McCona.
Yep.
McConaughey.
Yep, McConaughey.
I always want to say McCona because it reads
Bartender.
but it's McConaughey, but spelled different. How's Scott's last name spelled?
Good enough.
McConaughey.
MC.
M-A-C-O-N.
You a Mac or you a Mick?
M-A-C-O-N. McCona. Oh, it's MC? It's directly MC? You want to sing in your prettiest voice, Barley and Me,
M-C-O-N-N-A-H-A.
into this microphone. Just get 6 inches away.
Barley and me.
Yeah, so mix that with his
just one on top of the
metal
other.
one.
Yeah.
Layers.
Yeah.
And
All right.
and then you got Michael Ray.
Michael Ray in the back of the
Oh,
kitchen.
really? This
Blue
place is
Scout,
just a
yeah.
small operation with cool people and musicians.
You try to keep it quaint and personal, man.
right.
Otherwise,
This bread's really good.
Yeah, it was delicious. I did not
Cheers.
think garlic and bread was going to be a thing I was on to. Even though I like garlic bread, I'm like, calamari olives not a thing I want. Wait, I've had that before in a different kind of bread.
And it's a more
because it looks like a
quick,
banana
solid
bread.
bread.
It
Yeah,
looks like
exactly.
a banana bread, so I was expecting a different thing.
the texture is definitely more cakier.
Yeah, it was very good.
Cheers. Help yourselves, and I'll have it on the menu for tonight.
All right. What about on, like, say, Monday?
Yep, it's going to be a permanent fixture here soon.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
this is going to be released Monday. What is it available Monday?
Sure
Just
enough.
make sure, come in.
I mean, whenever you come here,
Yeah.
it's gonna be good.
It's going to be here.
It's gonna be sexy.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Andrew. All right, guys, we're going to do some wrap-up stuff because everybody has to get back to work. It's like
Wrap?
this is an operation. We all have things to do. John.
But you know what? Before we wrap up, I just brought you guys clear. I just want to share a poem with you about where this came
I
about.
feel like I know where this is going.
So it was
was
a
a clear
clear
black
black
night.
night, a clear white moon. Warren G was on the streets trying to consume
Some barrel-aged
Skrill
stouts.
Eve so I can get some phones, rolling my ride, chilling all alone. Just hit the east side with the LBC on a mission trying to find Mr. Warren G. Seen a car full of girls, ain't no need to tweak. All your skirts know what's up with the 1, 2, 3. Boom.
Damn.
So
that's beautiful.
the beer here, regulators, right? So I'm gonna be I'm gonna show my heart to you guys because the last company, Heretic, of course, props to the Heretic team out there. But I had a couple years ago there was we had some really good employees that made things happen, and I call them the dream team, and we were the regulators because we busted our asses and we did a lot, and the beverage just it mingled and when you have a team with a lot of synergy, and I say that I think King Cong right now has that dream team. There's a lot more to it, but I think when you build a dream team, everything just makes so much more sense, and the flow. The ebb and flows.
Are you talking about purely just kind of
team
personality wise, but more the product you're
personalities,
making?
everything, right? So you talk about a product of your environment and how people work, and there's more to that than just that. But when you have a dream team, everything's so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my props to my dream teamers, if they ever, so they know who they are because they're out and doing other things now, but we all laughed Heretic.
So it's basically nice people with a good work ethic who they're
passionate,
they are
artistic,
happy. They're
and
happy.
wonderful, and they just like what we got here going
Yeah.
on. But
Kind of happy. That's
And
like
they intermingle
testament.
very well.
so this beer was developed because of that. And let me tell you a story about this beer. Is I fermented this. So I love wine too, and I think both worlds. If you're talking about chilling on your ride.
Let me ride.
So this is 11.5%. It doesn't taste like 11.5%.
No?
But
Little bit.
I fermented this with Merlot grape juice from the field. So 10% Merlot. That's why you get a little wine character to it.
There it is.
It is very smooth too.
It was
Not
barrel
overly
aged for 6 months,
alcohol-y.
but after fermentation it had that characteristic, which is really cool because so for example, you talked about sours. You got some sours that are out in the market which are delicious. You have to add bugs to get it soured, and it takes years to sour it. Well, wine is acidic, right? So is beer, but wine has a sour note to it, even because the fruit's so fruity, you don't really get that. But like if we're talking pHs, 3.8 pH compared to like a real sour is like 3.2 or 3.3, but pretty close, right? So beer is always about 4.4 pH. Okay, it could be a little higher than that sometimes, but it's roughly around 4.2 to 4.4. So this beer that you're tasting right now is 4.4, but it
Pilsner?
tastes like the stout.
Oh, okay.
The Pilsner is 4.42. But if you taste
It's a very
this-
important number here.
I thought you
Yeah,
said,
but-
what was 10%? The
This
beer
is
that
11.5%
traditionally
right
tastes
here.
like this. Oh, this is.
This is 11.5 malt liquor.
Yeah.
but it's got some wine notes to it that I really want to pay attention to
very smooth.
because it's got that dark fruit.
It's almost chocolatey.
Chocolate dark fruit.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a crazy thing that yeast could do. Imagine that. So we're going back to yeast.
Yeah.
So it was a clear dark
It's
night.
food chemistry.
Grape must is a
It's
must.
a clear dark night.
Great must is a must. Cheers to that.
All right, guys, we got to get out of here. I think we all got things to do, people to see, beer to
All right, let's
brew.
go out on a little rap. Just a little, just try and then give up if you want.
All right.
But the only enemy is stopping.
Okay.
Oh, it's me?
Yeah. They'll jump in.
I'll do the closeout. You know, I'm the host. I'll do the closeout. So it's you.
Oh, where's George at? George, we need you now because we're rapping with my friends from Barley and I don't know. I think I messed it up because
That's right.
yeah. I just
Get back to clapping.
clapping. Oh, I like it. The beat. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Should it be like the
You're
rapper
King
that just
Kong.
You
What
just,
are those
that
guys
one's
from?
wrong.
Yeah.
You just gotta keep
Yeah.
rapping. Even if you say like googly,
What's the guy
googly
the rapper who always go, yeah, Little John?
Little John.
Yeah. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. What is it?
That's actually not
no,
Little
I
John,
say,
but that's
yeah. Well, no, what is it? Oh, yeah.
no.
No,
I don't
Little
know what
John.
he
He always has
Yeah.
this little
Yeah,
like thing that he does.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
yeah.
What?
It's like,
Okay.
we're closing out this episode of King Cong. We got to know what's going on at King Kong.
Oh, boom, boom. Yeah, I like it. I don't know. I can't follow.
What do you have going on at King Kong?
Well, there's a lot of beer coming out, and there's a pomegranate lager coming out here pretty soon for the summertime. Summertime.
Oh, can Kong rap though?
King Kong can rap. Where's Kong? Kong, you in? Kong. Check.
He's like,
Kong.
nope,
Kong.
he's like, nope, I'm not
No,
responding by
he's
name.
done. You guys, thanks guys for coming out. Thank you for hosting.
So I have a very important question.
Sure.
Just wrap up. What events do you have coming up, and where can people find you guys online?
Oh shoot! So I think KingCongBrewing.com is one. We were Facebook, Instagram. We try to post pretty regularly. Right now, it's just a small team, and I do most of the brewing work here throughout the day. Kong just does a lot of the business side of things, which is awesome because we need that. And then we got Andrew who's doing the cooking, and again, so a lot of things coming up this summer. I think a lot of good bands are going to be playing. A lot of nice beer, nice sessionable, and I have a thing for sessionable beers, guys.
Me too.
Because I love an 8-9% hoppy as hell IPA, but
You get a couple in you
yeah,
quickly, and you're like, can't drink
especially
no
when
more.
it's too hot.
Yeah.
I
Body
mean
won't
when
let
it's
you
hot,
drink
your
no
your
more.
glass warms up super fast. But when you have a nice crisp lager, let's just go down smooth.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm all about. Because, you have to enjoy the night, and it's cool. I mean, IPAs are great. I love IPAs. But, guys, man, there's other beer styles that are just delish.
And you can have like 3 of them. 3
And
different styles.
Three
3
different styles.
of light, crisp,
and still listen to
refreshing,
some awesome
delicious.
people rap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there going to be some rappers up in here? Left. That's another.
I hope so.
We'll see.
I mean, I think that would
are
be...
all the shows posted at KingCong.com?
King Cong Brewing.
I don't know. That's
Cong Brewing,
a
whatever.
good question. But you know what? Andrew could probably hook us up. Probably. I
Hook
would
it
imagine.
up.
With some rappers. Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
I mean, it'd be
I
fun.
mean, that would be different. We tried
all
DJs,
great.
by the way.
Stage is
so
a stage.
DJ was cool. We had two nights of DJ, and that popped. And that's another.
People dance.
I
I
wasn't
mean,
here,
music.
but-
Music is music.
But that's something different in a brewery, DJ. And I think it was just a house DJ, so it's a little bit different. But it drew a pretty good crowd.
It's a very common thing, I think, in the live show zeitgeist. Seeing a DJ.
Oh,
just up
Zeitgeist. Oh, yeah,
there.
you're right. You're
Like, I
Zeitgeist.
don't know.
Yeah, but Zeitgeist's not a brewery, though.
No. Just the zeitgeist being just commonly nowadays seeing a DJ
Oh,
on
I
stage
gotcha.
isn't something weird. So if you
Right.
see a DJ and there's cool music going, you're like, oh, these guys went a step above plugging in an iPad.
I would-
and they got a DJ mixing some stuff, especially if they're doing
I thought you were
some,
talking about Zeitgeist
some
in
vinyl.
San Francisco. Which I think that's
So
cool
many
spot.
breweries.
I love that spot.
I went
My
to a.
God. I heard that I don't like Anchor Steam, their flagship, whatever that is.
You don't like Aversteam?
I don't like the flagship
Steam?
one. The main
Anchor is
one.
the brewery, and then
Anchor
Anchor Steam is
Anchor
the
Steam.
Anchor Steam is the beer.
Oh, Anchor's brewery. So the Steam. I do not
Steam
like
is-
that.
is
I do
Anchor
not like
Steam
that
is
at
the-
all.
Monster.
I do not like that at all. What kind of beer is the Steam? What kind of beer is the
Legit
Steam?
old school.
It's not very.
It's a
good
process
to
of
me. What is
yeah.
it? But here's what I heard. I mean, let me now let me erase that aspersion I just cast, because I heard if you go to the Anchor Brewing in San
I think it's a
Francisco,
stout talking now.
I heard if you go to the
11.5%.
Anchor Brewing, I heard if you go to the Anchor Brewing, you get to taste all of their different beers, which they don't really bottle
Right.
They don't really bottle, and I heard it's a vast array of really great beer, and they have a great tasting room there.
You know, they're
Anyway.
one of the old school ones. I mean, Sierra Nevada, you know, my hat's to them. I mean, Ken Grossman and the team out there have done just an amazing job. I mean, they're idols. But Anchor, I mean, they're old school.
First IPA, first barley wine.
Yeah,
first,
Maytag.
yeah,
I mean,
a seasonal Christmas
1800s. You know what I'm saying? They're like your old school good old boys from London. You know, which Fuller's. You know, if you ever had Fuller's, or, you know, Samuel Smith. And I mean, there's some badass breweries that like legitly could you know tell you a thing or two, tell me a thing or two about brewing.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
I'm
Sam
just a pup.
Smith's, it's nuts.
I'm just a pup.
Slow.
You know, they're
Slow beer.
legit OGs.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the regulators.
Slow food.
They're the regulators.
Yeah.
What is the steam? What kind of beer is the steam?
It's
Cow Common.
yeah, it's a
Now-
Cal.
now known.
No,
It's
yeah,
a Cal Common.
Yeah, Cal Common.
It's like a
Yeah.
lager? Or? No,
Yeah, it's a common lager is what they kind of go with. But they have the name Steam. You can't use Steam
No.
anywhere else.
No.
It's
Yeah.
their
But if you think about why they use steam, do you know the story about
boats.
behind
a
that?
little bit.
Because San Francisco in that era, 1800s, well, steam is what actually powered a lot of their vessels, and they still have a lot of the old vessels. I think I knew a brewer who actually still works there, and he was saying that there's the whole new area for their old brewing equipment. I mean, they've upgraded, of course, but
steam powered their brewing equipment?
steam powered.
Dude, they still use copper kettles. It's badass in there.
Yeah, so very old
I'm
school,
going on a tour.
rustic.
Very specific cleaning instructions. Like
And they're the good old boys, I would say. You know, you go to London, you got your good old boys out there. They're California's good old boys, put it that way. I mean, they've been through a couple ownerships, but you know, they still are around, which is pretty cool. And they're not owned by the big boys.
yeah,
Big Ed, big beer.
But they do have their master brewers came from Budweiser.
yeah. Interviewed him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Doug?
Yeah. It was kind of fun, like that transition, like his history. Like his dad used to go to Anchor. He
you
goes
go.
with his dad to
Yeah,
Anchor, and he's
see?
like, He's like, this is what I always
Yeah.
wanted to do, and it's just like I got this job at Budweiser, and now I'm here. Like it was his goal was to get there.
And I'll give props to my Budweiser folks because I have a lot of friends who are Budweiser employees.
because you're in Fairfield.
Of course. Yeah, you got it. But regardless of what you think of the flavor or the taste of the Budweiser Bud Light, they do it well. They do it well every time in a crap load of countries.
Yeah.
So quality is always first as you
Consistency.
go. Consistency, you know, and then having fun too. So even us little boutique little brew pubs here, King Cong, we aspire to be greater, but I look to those
a sweet place.
those OGs that are around for that kind of concept.
Do you know Ale Industries?
I do,
Oh, yeah.
out of Oakland.
Yeah, they're in Oakland. They were in Vacaville for a while.
Concord.
Is that what it was?
Concord.
Concord?
They're right at More Beer. They're right in the cross parking lot from More Beer. You know, More Beer, the total wine or More Beer, More Wine.
exactly. In
No,
Jingletown.
More Beer.
Jingletown? That's the name of the neighborhood there in
Jingletown.
Oakland. That's the name of the
Oh,
neighborhood.
damn. I didn't know that.
Jingletown.
Cool.
Anyway, that's the brother
Right up
of
your
a
alley.
friend of mine. What's Cox's last name? What's his first name? That nice man. I forget his name. Cut this part.
Okay, I will.
But his brother lives in my neighborhood in Broderick.
Oh, nice. Cool.
That's it. He makes good. He makes a beer. He called it Orange Kush.
Yeah, that's
But
the
then he had
best-
to rename it.
But because of Kush.
'Cause that's ridiculous. He could rename it back.
I knew a brewer
Gold
who
State
he's like,
Mine.
no,
Kush.
I'm
He
talking
called
about
it-
Kush from Jerry Maguire. You know, Kushland.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about the
Show,
whole
Yeah.
time.
show me the money.
Cushman. Yeah.
Show me the money.
That's what I was saying the whole time. I don't know where
Are you
you're.
going to make a light fruity thing? Because
A light pomegranate lager.
That's what he said.
That's what I said.
You have it
Pomegranate
already?
lager. No.
Oh, you're gonna
It's
make it.
fermenting. It's rock and rolling.
Dope.
Before you guys leave too, this yeast strand that we have here within the King Cong facility is our own yeast that we actually have the rights to. We have it at a lab that we use. So this yeast that you're tasting in all my lagers is unique to this environment because
awesome.
it's we could only get it. So I won't go into details of how we found it, but
Proprietary.
but so far, but the yeast rock. They work hard for what we do.
And then Dean, we're getting
So we
out
got
of here.
April 12th, Be Brave Bold Robot's going to play with Nice Monster and my
Where?
my brother's band, Handle. New band on the scene. Old Ironsides, April 12th.
Oh, I love Old Ironsides.
Old Ironsides.
What else you got?
Old Eye. And then May 10th, going to play again at Old Ironsides with Drop Dead Red. You ever seen Drop Dead Red?
No.
They're really good. They are
good.
really good. They are really cohesive, straight up, just nice, great melody, songwriting, rock songs with Carly Duhane at the fore. Carly Duhane, who sings backup with Be Brave Bold Robot, she is one of the best singers in possibly the world. And that's all I'll say about Carly Duhane. I could say more, but that's all I'll say. It's pretty good. And you just check out Be Brave. You just Google it. It's the first thing that pops up. Be Brave, Bold Robot.
Yeah.
So that's nice. King
Yeah.
Cong Brewing.
Same with
first thing.
Barley and Me first thing pops up.
That's beautiful. Good name choices, guys.
Push all my
We are
homies
doing
to try
great
some
things.
barley and me.
Yeah, and then you can find Barley and Me across social media at Barley and Me Pod. Email questions, comments, concerns to Barley and Me Podcast or Barley and Me Pod at gmail.com. They both work. That's it. Episode 97 of Barley and Me in the can. Thanks so much, John and Anaya. Dean Haakenson from Big Old Ray Robot, King Cong Brewing. Thanks for listening. Get home safe.